What's the latest on Austin Reaves?
Well, I mean, Austin Reaves is playing. They wouldn't have made him available to the media yesterday unless he was planning on playing. If he goes out in the pregame and does a layup and tweaks his abdomen, then he won't play. But he's going to play, and he needs to play. Two things. Number one, the Rockets have been pressuring LeBron. They're like, we're going to try to tire him out. They're pressuring him full court, and LeBron has 16 turnovers the last two games. Now, I'm going to throw out Sunday. I think that game, it was a wonky game. The Lakers were fatigued. LeBron, I think, was fatigued from Friday night.
Certainly.
But 16 turnovers in two games. That's the Rockets need turnovers very badly because they can't score in the half court. So I think just getting Austin, I'm sure he'll be on a minute restriction, but just getting Austin back out there to help share the ball duties, the offensive creation, that'll be really big. The other thing is the Thunder are sitting there waiting. You got to end the series now. You get an opportunity to close out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and no one knows that better than LeBron James, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the first way that you get up, and now they're the heavy favorites. The first way to get upset in this series is to lose home court, and so no, they need to absolutely lose on your home court. They wouldn't lose home court obviously if they lost the game tonight. But Austin needs to play tonight. Needs to help LeBron. They need to close it out. Start focusing on the next challenge.
Okay,
Brian. Wait,
George,
real quick.
Yeah,
You mentioned Friday. And look, man, we've all seen a lot of LeBron games. You've seen a lot of them up close. Where does that one rank in regards to just insanity and the way it kind of unfolded?
I could give a dissertation on the play where he gets the turnover.
Yep.
So that play, first off, just the concept in any basketball game in any league in the world, that you are ahead by 6 points with 32 seconds left.
Yeah.
And by 20 seconds later, you've given it up. It's impossible. But if you look at that play where the ball goes to Reed Sheppard in the backcourt, LeBron is beaten on the play. Reed Sheppard has passed him. Now, he may say, I let Reed Sheppard pass me to try to get the ball, whatever. Reed Sheppard had beat him. And LeBron makes so not only do the Rockets have the ball up 6 at home, but Reed Sheppard has now beaten LeBron and is going to go down the court and get fouled. LeBron bails out the entire situation by making a brilliant play. He knocks it out. Okay. Ball comes back to him, and the ball goes to Kennard, and Kennard doesn't want the shot. Now, maybe he was covered, whatever. I would have preferred Kennard take that shot, whatever. We now have had the Lakers being down 6 without the ball. LeBron gets beat. Now he saves it. Now the ball gets to Kennard. Kennard doesn't want the shot. He passes it back to LeBron. LeBron pump fakes, which you would normally think is a good thing. But the pump fake allows the double team to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we're now in a situation where he's been beaten. Kennard doesn't want the shot. Now the ball's in LeBron's hands. He pump fakes and a double team arrives. And he makes the 3 over the double team anyway. My God, what an incredible sequence that goes all the Lakers' way.
Okay, I just want to say one thing, though. When you said you could have written a dissertation about this, just a couple more things. When he hits the ball away from Reed Sheppard and Marcus Smart throws the ball to LeBron, it goes over Reed Sheppard and another defender. So it goes over two guys to get to LeBron. But remember, LeBron does not make a clean catch. LeBron actually taps it with his right hand and then with his right hand pushes the ball to Kennard. Kennard also does not make a clean catch. But he has the ball, and he, like you said, he doesn't want the shot. Back to LeBron, and then when LeBron does exactly what you said, which is he steps back and pump fakes. I mean, all I'm trying to say is 15 things happened in that sequence, and if one goes wrong, and there were plenty of opportunities, if one goes wrong, he doesn't even take the shot.
If I was a Rockets fan, I would have been vomiting.
Well,
that
was actually the more likely scenario of the two plays that happened in the final 30 seconds when Marcus Smart not only steals it in the backcourt, but then immediately gets fouled, shooting a 3, right? And you could just see Ime Udoka, who wears his emotions pretty loudly on his sleeve and his expressions, and then he makes all 3 free throws. So yeah, I think the stat that I saw was it had only happened one other time in the previous 29 years.
1,700 plus times.
Yeah, it was
but
the Knicks game.
I even reject that
Yeah.
number because the actual individual circumstances were more crazy. And then he hits the big 3 in overtime.
Yeah,
Right.
well, and he almost
Well, he could have won it in regulation.
In and out
right.
after they get
Oh
the
my
stop.
God, we didn't even talk about that.
In regulation.
Back
and then,
iron.
And then that becomes basically like the most, I'm trying to think of what the previous LeBron buzzer beater, like the most famous one in the playoff context is. He doesn't have a ton of like
Chicago,
actual
Brian,
buzzer
maybe?
beating.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Orlando, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like this whole context of quote unquote buzzer beater. Like LeBron has made many shots in the final
Couple seconds.
4 seconds, 8 seconds, 12, wherever you want to draw the box.
Yeah.
How many has he made where the ball goes through the basket at the buzzer? Oh, that was not a buzzer beater. You know, Kobe would have made it at the buzzer. You made it with 5 seconds left. You know, that whole thing. He does have a couple. But, you know, that one, yes, would have been right up there.
So
it reminded me. Sorry, Kathy.
No, I'm glad that George brought this up Friday night because I wanted to get into tonight. But so I'm glad you brought it up, George, because what Wendy just said in the conversation we're having, it shouldn't go unnoticed. And by the way, you brought up the 1,700 games that this had never happened. We had Ian Eagle on earlier this week, Monday.
He's called both of them.
He was the guy who called the other
Did
one
he really?
as well.
Yeah. He told us he called the Knicks game too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Brian, it not obviously the stakes are different, but it reminded me of the Ray Allen shot and the way that play unfolded with 28 seconds to go.
Yeah, and typically what happens is when you have a comeback like that, because that was it 28 seconds?
28 seconds for the Ray Allen shot, right, when they were down 5.
The Heat were down 5. You need the other team's help. The other team always helps you. Often it's a missed free throw. In that case, actually Kawhi missed actually Ginobili and Kawhi missed both missed free throws. But you need the other team's help. And the Rockets were helping, but the Lakers had to pull some stuff out. And so getting that victory, which really earned them tonight's game, because you get one game in Houston, and so you have a chance to. So they that incredible win earns them the chance tonight, and they have to take advantage of it. This is what happens if you're going to do anything in the playoffs. You have to take advantage of it. LeBron knows it. I will guarantee you he has spent the last couple of days resting, maximizing, getting himself into position, and I don't know whether shots will go in, but I promise you LeBron will be as physically and mentally as he possibly. This is the most important game of the year. And winning this game tonight, look, the mountain that exists with their Thunder and then the Spurs it's borderline insurmountable. Like I saw we were giving the stats, the probabilities. I think I saw the Lakers were 1% to get to the finals and 7% to get to the conference finals. I reject that. Completely. I think that's wildly too optimistic, but winning in tonight's game and winning this series, overcoming these injuries, the way they finished the regular season, the way they've performed in this series, the way they have come together, this can catapult them forward, and it would be a crowning achievement for this season. I understand they play on a court with 18 stars on it, and that the standards are different for the Lakers than you would have for the Magic. But a victory tonight would be an incredible way that you could call this season a success.
What do you make? You mentioned OKC's waiting. So what do you make of kind of where we are right now in the Western Conference? Do you subscribe to the theory there's OKC in San Antonio and everyone else? Is OKC in a tier of its own? How do you view it all?
Crazy situation in this Wolves-Denver series where Denver is going on the road in an elimination game and are favored by 7 points. Maybe the lines moved or whatever. They're going on the road, and their third most important player, Aaron Gordon, is very likely not going to play in this game. And they're favored because of this crazy situation that Minnesota plays brilliantly and loses their whole starting backcourt in a 20-minute span.
Brutal.
So that whole completely destabilized the bracket. And then you look at, San Antonio. San Antonio impressed me greatly in that series with Portland. You would say, well, Portland, they're a low seed or whatever. Yeah, but they lost Wembanyama, and they went up to Portland, and they were down by double digits in the first half of both games, never having played a road playoff game as a group before. They come back and win both those games. And then last night they get their first closeout opportunity and show total professionalism, handle their business. So San Antonio, very impressive. Wembanyama in a 7-game series, brutal. Oklahoma City, they have been injured just like everybody else. The league has been defined, unfortunately, by injuries. They lose their second-best player, arguably. If you want to argue that Chet has been better this year, fine. But Jalen Williams, their second-best player, in my opinion. The guy that they plug in, they're 17-1 with him in the starting lineup. A.J. Mitchell. You're 17-1 when he starts this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's their fill-in. So that, again, it's just a mountain. It's a mountain to climb. And I was really hoping to get full power Denver versus full power San Antonio. I don't know if it'll be for full power Denver. They're not playing well, but that series potentially assuming. And by the way, I'm not counting you're going to Minnesota, right, George?
Yeah, that's why I'm leaving at 9 o'clock because I've got to catch a
This
flight,
is the Wolves Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Very rarely would you say this, especially for a team that's just gone to the conference finals 2 years in a row. They win tomorrow's game. They can say they beat their hated rival. That's what Denver has become for them. And they can say, we achieved the most with the hand we were dealt.
Yeah.
We achieved the most. And that is, they know what the assignment is, and they can destroy the Nuggets if they beat them tomorrow night without their two.
But
I think if the Nuggets
likelihood?
lose, there's ramifications to be had there,
but,
right?
But it's hard to believe. And look, we're watching the Lakers do it. The Lakers are up 3-1 without Luka and Austin, which is ridiculously hard to believe.
One-off game.
But for Minnesota to lose DiVincenzo the way they did, that's a very emotional one as well.
Absolutely.
And then to lose Anthony Edwards, and granted, he's been hurt a lot this year, but for those two guys to not be available, the likelihood of Minnesota winning for you is what?
I mean, they have to win Game 6. I can't see them winning Game 7. So I give them, what do you want to say, George? I give them 30% chance?
I was going to say about 20, 25.
Well, I was going to go 35.
Okay. So,
but we're all favoring the Nuggets. Yeah.
Ayo Dosunmu could have a game where he scores 35 again.
Right.
I mean, Jamal Murray hasn't played well in the series. I'm saying it's just a fact. Everybody has to play the hand that they're dealt. The Lakers' hand is brutal. They lose 2 of their 3 best players at the end of the season. They've played it brilliantly. They have absolutely maximized what they've gotten. They get this win tonight. They deserve a standing ovation. Not everybody can play for the same things in the NBA. Unfortunately, we've developed a place in the league that the only thing that matters is rings. And the Lakers play in an organization that has an incredible history, so their standard is crazy. But there is no reason to say that the Lakers don't win tonight, that there shouldn't be a grand accomplishment, that it should be appreciated. They're not going to be a parade. I'm not saying there's a parade that you appreciate. I say the same thing for Minnesota. Minnesota wins tomorrow night, George. They should celebrate that like it's a true accomplishment because of the hand that they're holding.
I expect, because of those circumstances and the fact that they hate each other, I expect that place to be a madhouse tomorrow.
Yeah, it will be.
And they're gonna, and they can unite in hating the opponent. They hate this opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they hate them.
Yeah, they're looking for a rally around the flag, just one night, all hands on deck. Play the matchups no longer favor them. Denver has weak spots they can get to. They can pack the paint in ways that they couldn't when DiVincenzo and Edwards were on the perimeter. They can attack, whether it's a Bones Highland or a Terrence Shannon, like guys that are going to have to play real minutes. Mike Conley, who is starting, right, who is basically the oldest guy that's not named LeBron James. So there are scouting report weaknesses up and down for Minnesota. But to Wendy's point, they just have to do it one night, and
can
they
the
just
Laker
have to find
fans, if the Laker fans win tonight, will the Laker fans show the appreciation that this team, what they've accomplished? Is that possible for a Laker fan?
Listen, my opinion, answer yes, and here's why. Because a guy like myself, and we were just talking about this before you got here, my question about LeBron this season was, could he fit in knowing that this team is going through some changes? And not only could he, but would he be willing to? We've seen what LeBron can do and is willing to do for a team. And I think that a lot of the LeBron doubters, and then I'll go beyond and call them the LeBron haters, I think those people, myself included, have got to have an appreciation for what LeBron has done here. Because when he's the 3 and he's sitting on the bench injured and he comes back and says, I'm willing to do this because I think I can help the team win by playing this role. And then before you know it, the 2 top stars are gone and they say, hey, can you put us on your back again? Do you mind? And instead of him going, screw you guys, I don't care what happens here, I'm out of here, he goes, yes, I can. And we've talked about this, Wendy, over the last few weeks. I've never seen LeBron play happier. And the alley-oop that he threw to Bronny is going down in all-time history. That will be somewhere in their house. There'll be a big picture of that because that was a brilliant, amazing play. But yes, answer is Laker fans will have a greater appreciation for LeBron when the Lakers win this series.
I think that when JJ called LeBron and Bronny into the game in Indiana, the end of that road trip that was such a great defining road trip for this team, And LeBron, in real time, we all realized he was going in with his son in a key moment for the first time ever, really. Like, I know it was Indiana. I know that they were attacking, whatever, but like, the game was in the balance. It's one of the coolest things I've seen all season. Can we agree that it's going to be a cool thing where it doesn't mean a championship? Or are we going to be repugnant NBA people?
Of course.
Don't be repugnant, Trudell.
The context matters.
So George and I have been kind of going a little bit back and forth as to what is the right way to use Austin Reaves tonight under the assumption he's going to play. For me, if he goes through the warm-up and he's in uniform and he's feeling good, in my opinion, he should start. And the reason I feel that way is because I would hate for a guy to sit on the bench for 5 or 6 minutes of game time, which could be 15 to 30 minutes of real time, and then you get cooled down, and now you got to rip off the sweats and get in the game. I'd prefer to see him get a lather going in the pregame and at least start him. George feels differently. He feels like you should bring him off the bench, and there's precedent for that. So I would ask both of you gentlemen, ball knower.
Trudell probably has a good feel for how JJ thinks in these situations.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, one thing we have to remember is that this is not a lower body injury that Reaves is coming back from. So oftentimes this will be different if it's in the case of Luka. It's a hamstring. He hasn't been able to do the same level of cardio and all of the just on-court stuff that Austin Reaves has probably been doing for a couple of weeks now. So I worry less about like minutes totals, about starting or not starting. You worry about the rhythm and things like that, but I probably would lean towards starting just in the case of Houston. They have a couple of missiles to deploy on defense, right? Amen Thompson being the foremost. And what we've seen from Luke Kennard the last couple of games, or his production go down, is directly related to that. Same thing with LeBron. Wendy mentioned this earlier as well. They are giving as much ball pressure as they can to LeBron. Well, if Austin Reaves is out there, guess what? He's your best on-ball guy right away. So if he draws the first wave of attack there, that means less that LeBron has to deal with. That means less that Luke Kennard has to deal with, less that Marcus Smart has to deal with. And in this case, if he's starting, then maybe it's Kennard that's coming off the bench. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Redick does. But no matter what, I think Reaves gets a decent minutes load because, again, it's not a calf, it's not a hamstring, it's not something like that. And that his on-ball downhill driving is exactly the antidote that you need.
Here's the other thing. It's not a must-win game, obviously, but this is the most important game of the Lakers season. I mean, there's obviously been important games before. This one is very important. You do not want to mess around going back for a game 6. You want to get this done tonight. And so, look, if there's a medical reason why you shouldn't start, I'm not as familiar with the comeback from abdominal injuries, but if there's a medical reason why you shouldn't start, fine. But if not, you need to get off to a good start tonight. You need to put Houston in a hole. You don't want their momentum to carry over. I think you absolutely start.
Mike, assuming that you've been around the facility, and I don't know that that's necessarily the case leading up to this kind of stuff, I've heard, Shams has reported, that over the last maybe like 2 weeks, Austin has begun, prepping. So first it was like individual workouts. Then there was some team workout stuff. So I guess my question, and maybe if you have an answer on this, is Austin Reaves just going to like put on his uniform in the pregame tonight in the locker room and go, okay, I'm ready to go? Or how ramped up is he? Because I would expect that he's been gone for almost a month, that he would be rusty, particularly shooting the ball. But how ramped up is he over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that the shooting. I get it. Like you can't count on that necessarily when someone's been out and they don't have their game rhythm. But I worry about that less. Like how many threes or how many pull-up twos that he makes, and just the force that he brings downhill to the offense. That right there. And even if he's barely shooting and he's just getting into the paint and drawing that Houston defense in a way that they have not been able to do really the last game and a half. So Lakers pretty much controlled game 3 in the first half, right? They built the 11-point lead. Houston kind of trimmed away. Then they built the 6-point lead that they blew and the Lakers earned. And then game 4 was, I'm kind of throwing it away. I think the Lakers knew it was short rest, like that let's get out there, do our best. Maybe if Houston hands it to you, you make a big push in the second half. Didn't happen. So that's a long way of saying for Austin Reaves, I don't worry too much about how he plays and how he shoots. Just his presence alone, to me, could make all the difference in what Houston can do defensively versus what they have been doing that's been working.
What do you think, Wendy?
Yeah, I love, the other thing is that Austin could get to the foul line. You can get to the foul line. You can get to the foul line in July. You can get to the foul line in December. You can get to the foul line coming off a month away. It's his best thing is he can do. That's one way to get yourself back into rhythm, go to the free throw line. So I look for him to do his thing where he gets guys off balance, gets into them, gets free throws.
All right, let me give you guys one more thing. I said this to Mike earlier. I don't think he agrees. That's okay. I'd be curious to hear your opinion, Windy. I'm a little more concerned about Houston tonight.
Hold on. If Windy agrees with me, are you going to back off the perspective, or would that be enough on top of me and Sedano?
It's a good question.
Okay.
Because Sedano and Trudell are like, you're just dead wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
All right.
But me and Perk, I think, are kind of on the same page.
Wow,
here.
I can't wait. This is quite a build-up.
Oh, yeah, because I believe that Houston is more dangerous without Kevin Durant. And the reason I feel that way is because I think that he's an overwhelming presence. He's got all the Hall of Fame credentials. It's his first year with this group of guys. And in game 2, there was a lot of barking from Durant, unhappiness about what his teammates were doing, how they were choosing to shoot, etc. And I think that in game 4, I will grant you guys, I think the Lakers were exhausted. They were mentally spent. The overtime period from game 3, all of those reasons, the Lakers did not show up on Sunday. But I actually think that the Rockets play looser and more with more team chemistry minus Kevin Durant. So I'm worried that without Durant tonight, that actually poses a bigger threat to the Lakers than if they had him.
It's an interesting take because the unknown that we don't know about that team is what the effect in the locker room was from the whole burner thing. Kevin, for those of us in the media, it's complicated to talk about because Kevin denied it, and you can't prove otherwise. So even what I'm talking about now is going into a bit of a danger zone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's affected the locker room. So you're asking me about the chemistry. You could be onto something there. You could be. I'm not saying for sure you are. I'm saying you could be. However, in a one-off elimination game with a team that is so offensively challenged, you're talking about one of the greatest offensive players of all time. So I think you would much prefer to have Durant in this game.
All right, it's 3 against 1.
But Cappy, it's not a crazy thought, though, and because you can look at the last couple teams that Kevin Durant has been on, and you can look at, has he been happy, and has that happiness, has that had an eroding effect on, that you can go down that path if you want. But, so game 3 is the game that we were all surprised when we learned that Kevin Durant wasn't going to play because of the ankle. I think the Lakers assumed he was going to play. Ime Udoka says he's out, and he wasn't on the bench, and that became a talking point. They lose that game. Then he's on the bench when they win game 4, and they show shots of him talking to players and laughing, and he even what did he do when Ayton
when Ayton got kicked out, he was like giving the na 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 na.
So
na,
like
na, na.
to
hey,
me,
hey.
I get it, but not all of that stuff in the context of a must win for them game 5 in a game that the Lakers are, while not technically must win, are certainly going to treat like a game because they know what game 5s can be pivotal in this context. So in that kind of a game, all of that stuff to me gets pushed to the side, even if it is there for the elongation for the part of the season. And I think Houston would rather have Kevin Durant out there to take jump shots.
The whole Durant thing is a whole fascinating sidelight. It was fascinating during the season. At the same time, they also didn't put him in the best position when they don't have a point guard and he's out there, getting attacked and he can't do anything.
And he doesn't deal with traps the way LeBron does.
He doesn't, and they didn't really help him out, and so I can see why that would cause some frustration. But we don't have the full information picture. So, like for example, Ime, I believe, said, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Trudell, Ime thought he was going to play in Game 3. He thought that there was motivation, there was a progression to that. But then it comes out that he's got this pretty significant bone bruise that's like knocking him out, and so. The question you ask yourself is, did they not know the severity of the bone bruise? Because they listed him as questionable. You don't list a guy as, I guess you could, like.
And he finished game 2 right after he did the ankle.
It's come out, like for example, in the Raptors-Cavs series, that Emmanuel Quickley was never going to play in that series. They listed him as questionable for 3 games, and they finally came clean. They're listing Franz Wagner as questionable for this game tonight. Is it tonight or tomorrow?
The Orlando game?
That's tonight.
They're listing Franz Wagner questionable. Mm-hmm. He has a calf strain.
Yeah, if it's a strain, he's out for like 3 weeks.
He ain't playing.
Yeah.
But, so sometimes you do that. But, like,
which basically means put him on the scouting report, right?
Yeah, it's unusual that they would list a player questionable. Nope, he's out. And then he's out. Like, so that whole thing and again, maybe there's a perfect explanation for that, where they were like, you know what, we didn't get an MRI, and then when it really bothered him, then we did get an MRI.
I think
and then we saw
probably it right there.
Probably,
yeah.
But it was an unusual situation that Durant was listed as questionable, and then now is out for the series.
Mm-hmm.
That was considering the other stuff that's gone on, it makes it difficult to read the situation, which is what you're doing. You're trying to you're looking at it. You don't have the full information. You're admitting it, but you're reading the situation and saying something's maybe off there. You could be on something, but I'm not quite there.
Let me give you, so Cappy, here's why I think it matters in terms of what the Lakers want to do defensively in this game. And you can look at the differences between what they did in like game 3 and game 4. And in game 4, you didn't see a lot of aggressive trapping. Like you didn't see a lot of different looks necessarily, especially in the second half. And, I'm not even going to ask JJ Redick about this before the game because he's not going to answer. And so we won't know until the game. But if you go back and look at like games 1, game 2, and when KD was there, when he wasn't, the Lakers do all kinds of different things defensively. And I think Redick and his staff have done a great job of this all year. And tonight would be one of those games where Durant's not out there. Well, that gives you the opportunity to do something more, to focus on a Şengün or to focus on a Reed Shepherd. And if Kevin Durant is out there, you can't in the same way because that attention all has to be paid to Kevin Durant.
So, look, 24 hours ago, I was Lakers going to win this game, no problem. Lakers more rest, home, their own beds, their own cars, their own facility, their own locker room, their crowd. Lakers going to win this game, no problem. I'm just telling you guys, I'm a little nervous because
you should be nervous.
I thought Houston played a looser game minus Durant, and without Durant tonight, those guys can just go out there and go, "Hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's just try and take it home."
All right. Well, look, game 3 was a miracle. I mean, they earned it. It wasn't given to them. They took it, but that was a game that they should have lost. Okay, and then they get pounded in game 4, which is a game that they didn't play full. But whatever, it wasn't like they went to Houston and rolled. Like the last 2 games have, Houston could have won both of them. So look, here's what I would say: the Lakers are not going to get away with a C+ game tonight. If they play a C+ game, they'll get beat. They're going to have to play B+ or A- basketball. If they play A or A+ basketball, then okay, you'll beat them. But they can't just, Houston's missing Durant and, we can get by the C+. No. They're going to have to play. It's a closeout game. This team is young. They're going to be saying the same thing you are. They're like, we just beat them in game 4. We should have won game 3. This series should be 2-2. We should be playing to take the lead. Like Houston's going to come in with momentum. You got to battle it back. So that's why, getting Reaves back tonight is big. This is not just, work him in and hope that he can get into a rhythm for the big series with Oklahoma City. No. Well, they need Reaves tonight to be a significant force.
So not only that, Wendy, so before the series started, and we're all thinking, all right, so April 2nd is the game when Reaves and Doncic get hurt. And so you look at the calendar and you try to think, well, okay, it's an oblique. What's the typical amount of games that players miss with this type of injury? And then so I get to a point of looking at, all right, game 5 is on the 29th. It's close to a month. Maybe Reaves could get back by then. Can the Lakers still be in the series by that point? I think most people would have thought it would be more likely they would be down 3-1.
Remember, I kept saying 2 weeks ago, just extend the games, extend the series.
And that was JJ Redick's first message coming at the next day after Oklahoma City when that was when they found out about Reaves, because in that game it was clear Doncic was going to miss time with the hamstring. It was not clear because Reaves finished the game. Then you find out about Reaves, and I think JJ and his staff huddled, and they essentially said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bust our ass to get home court so that we can try to put ourselves in some type of position to allow for Austin Reaves or Luka Doncic or both to get back. And if you would have told him at the time, you're going to have home court, you're going to be up 3-1 with a chance to get to the next series. Forget for now that it's OKC. That brings its own set of challenges I'm sure we'll get into, especially if it happens. But this is the most possibly favorable situation I think the Lakers could have thought to be in, and they've done a great job to get to this point.
And I will say,
capitalize. We'll see.
Shams talked about it, but it's sort of common sense. Luka's not going to be ready for the start of the next series. He's not doing stuff in practices that is someone who's coming back. Also, he will have to have some sort of conditioning ramp up. You don't not play on a leg injury for months. I mean, we've seen repeated guys re-aggravate hamstring injuries. So they're going to start the next series without, that's going to happen. Will he be able to get there by game 3 or 4? Maybe, I don't know, but it's not going to be this. If the Lakers win tonight, I think you're going to see the Lakers play Sunday. There's a decent chance. It depends what happens in another series. ABC is getting a game. One thing I will tell you, there will be an NBA game on ABC Sunday afternoon, and there will be an NBA game on NBC Sunday night. I promise you, those are contractually obligated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether or not there'll be game 7s or game 1s, but you're not going to see Luka on Sunday. whether you're in this series or in the next series. So this is, get going and get Austin Reaves up to power.
If Wolves Nuggets goes 7, which I think it very well could, and if a couple of the Eastern Conference series go to 6 or 7, then
7.
7.
Thank you, Cappy.
Gotcha, Linz.
We're still doing that. Could that push the start of, again, if the Lakers win tonight, could that push that to early next week?
Maybe.
He was like 7.
He didn't like it.
I don't feel as confident as I used to. I used to become a little bit of a whisperer about figuring out when series are going to be, but that was when it was 2 networks.
Yeah.
And you could figure out what their windows were.
Right, because last year they didn't start till the 4th and the 5th of May, because there were a couple games.
Right, and I'm just telling you, the broadcast networks.
Yeah.
It was like you could always guarantee on Saturday night there will be a game Saturday night. ABC has an 8:30 game Eastern, guaranteed.
Yep, that space is getting filled.
So there will be 2 games on Sunday. That's all I'm at. I'm not at Tuesday when I haven't figured out the way Prime. Last night ESPN in a situation that I've never had before, ESPN and NBC were both doing NBA games at the same time.
Yes, and it was very annoying because it's like,
well, it's better than if it was on streaming because at least you could go back and forth.
Correct, but it was like, wait a second, I got 2 games going on at the same time. The good news is that really neither of them were overly competitive, even when one was in the first half and the other one was in the fourth quarter.
Well, the Celtics game was close. It was, we've seen closer games.
That was a good game.
I was talking about the later
away
game.
a little bit late, but it was a good game.
No, at one time the Knicks were rolling and the Celtics were in a bit of a fight. Obviously the Sixers won. But it was that's never happened before where I was going back and forth between ESPN and NBC.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a rare one-off situation. Also, ESPN doesn't typically have games on Tuesdays. So anyway, but
I feel like just check me on this, guys. Wasn't the Knicks game late in the game and the Trailblazers and the Spurs game on at the same time, and the Knicks game was late, and I was like, well, this game's over because the score is
they were up by 20.
The doubleheader was on ESPN.
Yeah,
and the doubleheader was Boston, Philly,
right,
followed by Blazers.
My point is, I was going back and forth, but I was like, okay, well, do I really need to go back to that one because it's in the fourth quarter and it looks like the Knicks are pulling away?
Yeah, they're in control.
And by the way. And San Antonio was well in control.
They're up by 20.
Yeah.
Having said that, the I know 90% of America had gone to bed, but there was a spot in the fourth quarter where the Blazers had cut it to 9 and had the ball.
I had gone to bed.
Yes, the Spurs pushed it back. I don't have that luxury.
Yeah,
the Spurs pushed it back. But there was a 3-minute moment in the second half where there was something.
It was the typical kind of, they took their foot off the pedal just a little bit, and then the team played
which, by the
well
way,
enough to make
is
them
something
re-engage.
you got to think about tonight. And LeBron's literally been through. I was researching this morning. This is if LeBron wins, then it'll be the 17th first round series he's won. 17th. So certainly LeBron knows what it takes to close out a first round series. But there's one thing that you always know is that it's hard to kill a team. They will typically, especially a young team like Houston. It'd be one thing if this was a team at the end of its run and they were letting go. Houston's hasn't let go of the rope. So you're going to have to put them in the ground. They will try to come back at you. You have a 10-point lead in the third quarter. You have a 15-point lead going into the fourth. They're not going to quit. So you have to keep that in mind tonight.
That was the J.J. Redick quote at practice yesterday.
Yeah, let me play that because it's great.
Yeah.
It's difficult to kill someone. You've got to, again, survival instinct says I want to stay alive. So you've got to be able to kill them. That's what's difficult.
So violent.
It's difficult to kill someone.
Morales, put that in the open.
I think we're going to have
to. It's difficult to kill someone.
Right.
And I can just see his face.
It's difficult to kill someone.
Yeah.
Lindsay said that to me. We'll have that in the open starting tomorrow.
I saw that quote,
kill someone.
and I was like, geez, JJ. If you were to say, hey, it's really difficult to knock a team out, okay, we get it. But it's really difficult to
that
kill
is spoken
somebody.
like someone who's killed somebody.
Right?
And
No,
you see his
weird,
face
creepy.
in the video, too. It's very ominous.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes,
whoa.
that's how JJ rolls. JJ is a very intense gentleman.